I mean, when the band broke up, I started taking some client work. I had a friend who was a personal trainer, and I built him a website, and that kind of got me on the map with some other folks who were personal trainers who was like, "Hey, could you do one of those for me?" And so I was able to do a little bit of work. And what I thought was I was going to do this a little bit, and then I was going to take a full-time job. And then I started talking to a company in Montana where I was living at the time, and they were like, "Yeah, we'll hire you as a web designer. The max salary, we'll hire you at $30,000 a year." And this was in 2007, so it wasn't nothing. Montana, the cost of living in Montana is pretty low, but it also wasn't very high. It felt like a not a lot of money. And I was like, "Okay, can I do better than that?" I asked them. I was like, "What's the ceiling? Like if I stay here and I get raises, like what's the highest I could go?" And they said 36. I was like, that just doesn't feel like a lot of room to grow. And then I at the same time, serendipitously, one of my initial clients came back and they said, "Hey, we've got this idea where we want to build a lot of websites for our clientele." They were a talent management company. "And we'll put you on $3,000 a month retainer if you will build the websites for our talent." And I said, "Okay, that's $36,000 a year." And it was only a 3-month contract, but I was like, you know what? I bet I can figure this out. And so I decided to take a bet on myself. And what it ended up being is when you do agency work, there's the part that I knew about. I knew I was going to be building websites. But the part that I wasn't thinking about is that you're also managing your own time. You're also managing client expectations. You're defining project scopes. You're figuring out how to make sure everybody's aligned on deliverables. And then you're also in charge of things like communication. You got to send check-in emails and set deadlines and make sure that communication goes out if you're going to miss a deadline or if you're ahead of schedule. And I had to go get new clients. So now I'm in sales and I'm doing all of these different things. And what was really similar between being in a band and doing this agency work was the same thing is true if you're in a band. You have to go get shows. You have to talk to like the high schoolers in that town to see if they'll hang up posters so that the kids will come to your show. You have to make sure that the local radio gets a copy of your demo in case they want to play, like, here's a band coming to town. And all of this was the same, it's outreach, it's organization, it's setting deadlines. I had to make sure the band showed up on time. I had to work back from when we had to be loading in at the venue to like what time we had to leave in the morning and make sure that the van was fueled up and ready to go on the road. And so all of these logistical skills weren't one-to-one translations, but they were pretty dang close to what I ended up doing when I was in the agency.